What is good communication? What is constructive communication? And how can we navigate this through our relationships, throughout all our relationships, in order to get our point across? So, the poll for today is: do you think you have good communication skills? Or do you think you're good at communication? Okay, the poll is out and the notification just went out. So I will start with a few points while I wait for others to join. I'm just looking down at my notes here, guys. Sorry. I had quite the eventful morning. That's why I started live. Hi, bestie. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the live. Thank you. I'm a bit late today, so I'm sorry about that. But today we are going to be talking about communication. Do you think you're good at communication? And if not, how can we fix that? And why is it important to be good at communicating? How is your day going, Lungi? Are you in the office today? Mangwanani Dineo, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the live. How is your Friday going? I hope it is laid back and not too stressful. So, we are talking today about communication. That is the topic for today. Do you think you're good at communicating? Do you think it's important to be good at communicating? I think this is my first time saying that on the live. Yeah, you're right, because yeah, people don't want to be my bestie and they don't call me bestie, so I can't really put it on them, titles and all. Oh, sorry, Lungi. I'm so sorry, but it's Friday, so at least you have the weekend to look forward to. Sake of being grateful. I'm in the office. Yes, Lungi, nice one. Nice one. We get to go to work. We don't have to go to work. I always have to remind myself of that, although it's difficult, but I try to remind myself of that as well. Okay, so let's start with the topic, guys. Do you think it is important to be good at communication, and why? So I will start with this quote that said, everything you say should be true, but not everything true should be said. Oh, Danilo, that's nice. That's nice. That is so cute. I hope you are learning a lot from your babysitting era. So let's dissect that quote for a minute. Everything you say should be true, but not everything true should be said. What does that mean? For me, it means that if something is coming out of my mouth, it has to be the truth. Whether it is going to help me in a situation or not, I have to completely be honest in all types of communication with everyone. But just because something is true and I have an opinion about something and I believe that it is a true opinion, that doesn't mean I should say it out. So my mom always used to quote this saying that says, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And this is really much aligned with this quotation. Not every truth must be said. So for example, let's say that you have a friend and they are starting content creation, and you know that they could get. Won't be here for long. The Wi-Fi is down. Don't have enough data. Thank you, Puluko. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Alice. Good morning. How are you doing? Today we're talking about communication and why it is important to have good communication skills. And yes, so your friend is starting content creation and you believe that their content or their quality can be better, but you are also understand that at this particular moment they can't afford to get maybe a phone that is a different quality, or they can't afford to go out. Maybe the kind of content you like watching is lifestyle content, and that means they have to be going out and doing a lot of things. And just because that's the content that you prefer, it doesn't mean that every other person prefers that kind of content. Like we were saying on Alice's live, that now what is popular is the village type of content. And if someone is in the village, moving around with cows and goats and all of that, that is something that is popular now. But before, it was lifestyle and luxury. Good morning, Sino. How are you? Hi, Nono. Good morning. Thank you for joining the live. So, just because it is a truth to you that you prefer lifestyle content, you prefer luxury content, doesn't mean that it's a truth to everyone. And because of this reason, your truth should not be told to that person because it is actually discouraging for them. And also, let's remember that whatever we believe is true is something that we were taught or something that we learned. For all we know, the world is a triangle, but we were all taught that the world is round. So just because we have certain patterns of what we believe is true doesn't mean that we have to say it out all the time, because it may serve as a discouragement to other people. So for everyone who has joined, we are just discussing the quote that says, everything you say should be true, but not every truth should be said. Yes, but not everything true should be said. So in as much as we want to be honest, and in Zimbabwe they say sometimes you have to be brutally honest, that's not true. If you are trying to build a relationship with someone that is reciprocal in trust and respect, then you have to be mindful of what you say, even though you think that it is truth. Okay, I got a notification of this live. Thank you, Lungi. That's deep. It really is, you know. Some people think that as long as they are saying the truth, that it is valid. It's not. You have to be careful of how you say things to people. Exactly. Not everything that is true should be said. And I think that's where the wisdom and discernment is. Exactly, Lungi. Exactly that. And also, is the person you're talking to ready to receive what you are saying? Because remember when we were talking about complaining and just venting, the difference between that was, if you continue to say the same thing to the same person over and over again and you're not getting a result, you're wasting your own time and energy saying something for someone who's not ready to receive it. So sometimes it's better for you to keep quiet and keep your peace rather than putting in energy into something that's actually not going to benefit you or that person at that particular time. Oh, Dini, practice, practice. Yes. Just came to like and say hi. Thank you, Alice. Thank you. I know you need your rest. This week, you're going to be needing your rest in the mornings, but I appreciate you being here and coming to say hi. So, the next point that I have is that sometimes we mistake communication as having to express ourselves, right? the most important thing in communication is I have to express myself, I have to express what I think, and I have to express how I feel. There is wisdom and discernment, like Luni said, in assessing the situation, because there are some times where you speaking out actually makes the situation worse, depending on who you're speaking to and what kind of audience is going to receive it. So communication is not necessarily about expressing yourself. Communication is about making the other person understand where you're coming from. And then once you've passed on that information, that person then does what they will with that information. But the whole point of communicating with someone is passing information and showing them your perspective. So it means that in communication, disagreement is healthy. This respectful disagreement is healthy, because like I said, we come from different places, different cultures, different patterns. But if you are communicating in a respectful way and you're disagreeing in a respectful way, both of you are going to learn something from the patterns that you have formed. But if my point of communication is you have to change your mind and you have to understand what I'm saying to you, then I am undermining the opinion, the pattern, the stereotype, or the idea that this person has grown up with. And that is only going to lead to a fight, because they believe what they're saying is true, and I believe what I'm saying is true. So with communication, you have to assess where the person is mentally, where they are physically, and if they are able to receive what you're saying at that particular moment. There are instances where people have already decided on what their truth is, yes. So no matter how much you communicate, they won't receive it. Exactly. And that comes from how we grew up, right? In my household, I don't remember people shouting at each other. So if someone is trying to say something to me and they raise their voice, I don't hear anything. My ears literally ring. All I'm hearing is "Ah," until you lower your voice and you put your point across. So my pattern is like that. Someone else's pattern may be for them to get their point across, they need to raise their voice. And me not understanding that doesn't mean that what they learned is not their reality or their truth. It just means that it is not my truth. True, Dre. Some people may not see the things you're raising out when you're communicating them in the right way. Yes, Alice, definitely. Then you make them notice things they were not aware of. Yes, it depends on how you say it. So it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. If you come to me and you tell me that, look, if you want to improve your content, I suggest you do this. I am going to understand that you're coming to me from a place of you want to help me. Your intentions for me are good, and you actually watch my content and you wanted to improve. But if you come to me and you say like what happened the other time, someone said, I asked, what do you think I should improve with my content? And someone said that you need to improve your editing because it gets boring. And I was like, okay, that was not the question. I didn't ask you if my content was boring or not. But yes, they did have a good point, yes, about editing. But the way they communicated it to me, it didn't bode well for me at all. Low Cash, thank you so much for joining the live again. I've seen you on my live before, so I'm guessing this means that you subscribed. I'm happy to have you here. Hi, love from Bengaluru, Karnataka, India. Thank you so much. And love back to you from a Zimbabwean girl. Shouting confuses me, you. I don't even know how to explain it. Me too. Me too, Lungi. All I hear is ringing. I can't hear what you're saying. I can't hear. All I'm seeing is a person, their lips are moving, but all I'm hearing is woo. And so shouting doesn't work with me. I was not born that way. I was not raised that way. It doesn't work. Hey Casey, how are you doing? So today we're discussing communication, and we're dissecting how, or the best way to communicate. So I have a few points that I would like to share with you guys. Let me see. Okay, I think my battery is good enough. That's why I'm in this position, because my phone was on the charger. Okay, so the first thing is using kind words builds trust. When you communicate with kind words, it builds trust with the people you are communicating with. Now, let me expand this more. If you want to put a point across to me, and you're speaking to me in kindness just because of what you want to say, but I understand that at a certain point, and if I say the wrong thing, you're going to twist and start to shout, I'm not going to trust that you bring your communication to me with good intentions. And I'm not going to trust that I can even communicate with you. So when that happens, my type of communication is going to be withdrawn. And Tinewo, remember we were talking about attachment styles. I will definitely do that live on Monday. I was supposed to do it today, but I couldn't go live yesterday. But even with attachment styles, the way you communicate with your children has an impact on how I'll be in the background from now. Okay, Danielle, all right. Thank you. How you speak to a child determines what they come to you with, right? So I remember when I was younger, and I think I had a crush in primary school. And then I went and told my aunt, because I knew that if I went to tell my mom about that, she was going to freak out. But this was just a crush, because I was watching, I don't remember, Sweet Valley High or something like that. So I understood that, oh, a person can have a crush. But it was so innocent, because there was absolutely nothing else that I was going to do with the fact that I have a crush. And my aunt received it well, but unfortunately, it wasn't today, Alice. It wasn't today. I said on a Friday when when everything is calm. But okay, I will schedule it for next Friday. Next Friday, guys, join the live. Something different is going to be on your screen. But yes, so the way she received it and the way my mom would have received it stopped me from communicating with my mom and communicating more with my aunt. Now, luckily for me, my aunt always had the best intentions for me. But imagine if I had confided in someone who didn't have good intentions for me. What if they were going to give me bad advice, like, oh, if you have a crush on a boy, you should go and kiss them at that age? And so it's important, even now, later on in life, if someone comes to you with something, try and understand where they're coming from first before you react. Because your reaction is going to determine whether or not they're going to come to you with anything ever again. And again, imagine with content creation, someone comes to me and they say, oh, your music is too loud, or it's too low, or your voice is too low. And then I give them a response like, I know exactly what I'm doing. Next time they see a mistake, they're not going to come and correct me. So communication and kindness in communication is key. Greetings there, Casey, from everyone. Hi, Quentin. Good morning. How are you doing? Trudre. Thank you, Lungi. For me, Dre, I struggle with communicating with my thoughts or feelings because of having strict parents. You'd be able to push through your thoughts, so I just shut down and not say anything. That's exactly what I was saying. No, no, that's how I grew up. There were certain things that you could bring to my parents. For example, if you need new books for school, you can come with that. If you need a new uniform or shoes or something like that, you can come to them for that. But anything that's extracurricular, okay, we have to go for a basketball game and this. My dad would instantly change and say, that's not your core business at school. You're not supposed to be doing that. And then my mom was a little bit more supportive and she would come to the games. But then I knew that as long as it's not school, I don't communicate with my dad. So that kind of strained whatever other relationship I could have had with him at that time. Now that I'm older, there are certain things, like for example, if I'm working in the office and I have my colleagues, and this thing is what I want to say isn't directly associated with work, I won't voice it out and I shut down. So I understand exactly what you're saying, no. Hi, Real. What's happening is we're talking about communication, the importance of communication and how to communicate well. I don't know if I'm a good communicator. I just know I love to communicate, but a lot of people don't, and I become overbearing. But as I grow older, I'm becoming sensitive to bad delivery, so I also have to improve on that. That is some great introspection, Casey. Yes, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. That's the most important thing, because you have to understand that some people don't receive things well and some people then take it too far. Like the example that I'm giving with my parents, at some point, yes, they changed and now I can speak to my parents about everything. But when I was growing up, I believe that there are a lot of situations that I could have dodged if I just came to my parents and I told them about what was happening with me. But because I was afraid, I would turn to other people who would give me bad advice. And because of that, there are a lot of mistakes I made along the way. So it's important that when you are receiving what someone is saying, you are actually receptive to it, and they don't feel like you're a burden. They don't feel like they're burdening you, exactly. And they also don't feel like you are um, maybe attacking them. Yes. So it's important, the delivery as well, and the reception. Communication is important, but how you communicate during communication is much more important. Yes, not what you say, but how you say it. Sometimes you saying becomes pointless because of the manner you're saying it. Exactly, Quentin. We said that earlier, that if for me, if someone is shouting, I don't hear a thing. I don't hear a thing until they are calm and they can tell me what they're trying to say without, having a loud voice or any other thing like that. Good morning, Christina. How are you doing? Hi, Nahom. I remember you. Are you the engineer? If I'm not mistaken. If I'm right, please confirm in the comments below. And happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. You're 23. I wish you the best year ever. All of your dreams, I hope they come true in this new year that you're turning. I just, oh, it was architect. Okay. But yes, I wish you all the blessings and all the prosperity, all the joy, all the peace, all the success. Thank you so much for joining again. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. All right. So, yes. So, kindness in communication builds trust. You are most welcome, Nahom. Okay. And also, how we resolve conflicts. This is an important key in communication. I'm talking about respecting your tone, consideration, and humbleness in your words. Yes. Everyone was always shouting at home. I was very quiet and very confused. Yes. Yes, Casey, that's exactly what me and Lungi said. I can't hear anything if you're shouting. So, yes, exactly. Respect in your tone, consideration, and humbleness in your words. Quentin, something very interesting about what you said, this issue of respect. People seem to think that fear and respect are the same thing. And I don't know if it's the same in your culture, but in my culture, they they don't know the difference between fear and respect. And so they assume that you find respect simply because of who you are and the position that you're in. But I believe that respect is earned. And the best way to earn respect is to be, like you said, considerate and humble in how you talk to people, especially how you talk to people who are in a less privileged place than you or in a lesser position like you. So, for example, with a parent, if you want your children to respect you and not just fear you, then you have to be respectful in what you say. My grandfather, he was exactly like that. He was so considerate, so humble, and he was a man of a few words. So when he said he didn't like something, you knew that you have really done something wrong. And when he said it, you would immediately fix up because you didn't want to disappoint such a man. But if it's someone who's always anything you do, they're shouting, anything you do, they're criticizing, you get used to it. That's one thing about children. They get used to it and they become numb to it. So it's important that with communication, even in our adulthood, imagine you have a boss. I had a boss that was always shouting. I don't know why, but maybe it was because of how she was raised or who she had worked under, but she didn't respect the employees at all. So we expected her to shout at anything. And that we lost a lot of respect for her because of her behavior, because, well, she was in a higher position, so she thought that being disrespectful, shouting at us in front of clients and customers was okay. So yes, the respect just disappeared. So when we're talking about conflict resolution, I think the most important thing when you are in a disagreement and when you are in a conflict is to put yourself in the other person's shoes. And I know it is difficult, especially because especially when you feel like you have been hurt or when you feel like your feelings are not being considered. Try and put yourself in the other person's shoes, because like we said, we have different patterns and different perspectives of life. And if how I like to resolve something is I step away from the situation, reassess what I should say, then I come back, and the other person likes to speak about things immediately and just hash out everything at that point. There has to be a certain compromise whereby I am allowed to cool down and the other person is allowed to vent out their feelings. Because if I only look at things from my point of view, the reason why I do that is I don't want to say something out of turn that I'm going to regret later. But maybe the other person, they once they get their feelings out, then it's done. Like, there are people like that. They don't go over 30 minutes thinking about the same thing. So there has to be a compromise, and there has to be the intention of actually resolving the conflict. Because if two people are just shouting over each other, nothing is going to be solved. I also worked for a family member that was arrogant, and I always thought, bruh, be human first and remain humble because that arrogance hurts hard when life humbles you. Yes, Quentin, that was exactly what was happening in that company as well because if it was a family owned business, and I've seen that normally with family owned businesses, they don't respect the workers that much. I've spoken to maybe two or other people who have said the same thing because they feel like they own this or the family owns it, and so nothing can happen to them. And when life does humble you, you will understand that there is no person who is lower than the other. Everyone deserves to be spoken to with respect. With me, I don't mind constructive criticism as long as you're delivering it in the right way. Lumi said, this communication thing is tricky for me because I don't want to discuss every little thing. It exhausts me. Interesting, Lumi. That's interesting. So, is this in terms of the little things? So the little things don't bother you enough for you to want to talk about them? Or does this include the big things? Cosmo, hi, how are you? Thank you so much for joining the live. Please don't forget to like the live. And if you like what I'm discussing, I discuss this every weekday, this kind of topics every weekday. So you can subscribe. That passive aggression is all I've experienced from most of my bosses. But my first boss was the best. I learned a lot of leadership skills from him. I want to discuss everything, Lungi. Otherwise, I feel like I'm missing something and stressed out. Okay, so now imagine two different communicators here, Lungi and Casey. And if you're not considerate of the other person's perspective, you're always going to have conflict because Lungi is not going to understand why you want to discuss everything, and you're not going to understand why Lungi doesn't want to discuss everything. So that is why there has to be consideration in communication. We grew up in different homes, different countries, different cultures. So the way we resolve conflict or the way we communicate can be different. That's why we always have to have this grace and kindness towards each other if we want to have constructive communication. I just came from Fire live stream and almost got reported by a mean person. Oh, sorry about that, Cosmo. Over here, we are kind to each other. So as long as you're kind to everyone here, everyone is going to be kind to you. Lungi, I assume doesn't want to be drawn to negative energy and negative personalities. Yeah, she has said that before, especially in the workplace and with people around her, that sometimes she just has to let go because negativity, unfortunately, seeps in. It really seeps into the bone. So with me, I unfollowed a lot of people that are always speaking negatively towards me and towards themselves as well. And in the workplace, people who are always complaining, the boss did this, the boss did that. That doesn't work for me because if you're going to be in this, then be in it. Try and change the situation you're in. But yes, I think that is true, Quentin. I want to discuss the little things, Lungi, because I feel like they build up to the big things if not addressed or discussed. That is also true, Sino. So with me, I think that I think forward, and I always project the situation that's happening now to how it can be in the future. So for example, I am very, very particular of how my partner speaks to me, how he speaks to other people and how he speaks to people he doesn't need anything from. Remember, we spoke about this, that if I'm on a date and you are disrespectful to the waiter, that's the end of that date. You're not going to see me again. Why? Because after we have dated, we are going to court and we're going to get married. And the most important thing is we're going to bring in a new generation. So if this person is not emitting traits that I want my children to have, then it's up to me to make sure I break that. Because to be quite honest, it's very difficult to change a person's mindset, but you can change the situation that you're in. So it's important, and for me, that's why I would discuss the little things, because I have stopped thinking about myself in the manner of, oh, I can change the situation that's here now, or the people that are around me now, my colleagues, my boss, whatever it is. I've stopped thinking about myself because it takes a long time. But you see, this next generation, they are our future. So we have to impart in them the good things that we want to see. Because yes, we are working and fighting for change right now, but change takes time. So that change can come from the younger generations. Not, I don't know about Amatuke. I don't know if we're too late with them, but the younger ones, they have the future of the society in their hands. So we have to make sure that we're imparting wisdom in them. Big things, sure, but other things you can tell they just don't need to be rehashed. I just want to get over things. Ah, okay, I see. So you are that kind of person that you let go of things easily. I'm different, Lungi. I want to make sure that we have gotten to the root of the problem. So for me, I always use the metaphor of you can't sweep dust under the rug and expect the dust to be gone the next time you lift the rug. So I want to sweep everything and make sure that there's no dust, because I don't want to be sneezing in the next 3 years. You, Casey, nah, I can't. So, I get anxious having to discuss everything. Okay. I get where you're coming from, Lungi. I do. I really do. True, about to say the same thing. I would have a build-up and all hell will break loose for me, Shay. Same with me. So I have learned not to bottle things up. Like I said, because of my upbringing, I've learned to keep things inside. If I feel like it's not going to bring about the result that I need, for example, if I want to address something at work or with my colleagues and I see that, okay, they're not going to receive what I'm trying to say or nothing is going to change, I'll just bottle it up. But if I keep on bottling it up, there is a day that I am going to explode. So that's why with me, I would rather speak about everything. But it's a learning curve for me, and I'm still learning how to express myself in a better manner. The little things that matters, like bad habits or other things, should be left to pass. That matters, like bad habits, but the little things that matter, like bad habits, but other things should be left to pass. Yes. So what do you consider a bad habit, Lungi? For example, someone who leaves socks everywhere, is that something that you would address? Or is it something like, what other little thing? Someone who maybe doesn't do the dishes. What do you consider something that should be left to pass and something that is a bad habit? We're the same, Dre. My husband has come to appreciate it over the years. Yes, Casey. I'm always looking forward. And someone will say, just live in the moment. But with me, I don't know why. I'm always projecting forward. It's a good thing and a bad thing. I don't know. Might be an in-between thing. Okay, right. So the next thing is use kind words to promote more positive communication patterns with others. So this one is a hard pill to swallow because there are some people who are definitely going to walk all over you if you express kindness when what they express is the opposite of that. But the best way to teach any person anything is through your actions. So, this saying of do as I say and not as I do does not really work with people. So, if you have someone who is always speaking to you in a disrespectful manner, when you show respect to them and you are humble, or when you don't react, especially if you are not reactive, that person is going to stop trying because they're going to understand that they can't push your buttons. And when they do push your buttons, you respond to them with kindness and respect. It's hard. I think it's the hardest thing to do as a human being because we are supposed to be reactive. But remember, I forgot the verse exactly, but where it says that if someone hits you on one cheek, turn to the other side so they can hit you on the other cheek, because it's going to make them question why you're turning to the other cheek, and they're going to try and figure out what kind of a person you are, and if this kind of a person or this behavior is actually working for you. So sometimes you don't teach kindness through telling someone that, oh, the way you speak is so wrong, or the way you act is so wrong. Sometimes you teach kindness just by being kind to them. As they are shouting, you're speaking in a calm voice. As they are insulting, you're speaking in a respectful manner. As they're being proud, you're being humble. So that can actually change the patterns of how people speak around you. Because if someone is continuously being cruel around you and you're not giving them the same thing back, they're going to have to reflect on how they are. Quentin said, one time I expressed how I felt about a certain situation at work. It ended up escalating to this particular person telling me they'll never forget what I said until they go to the grave. Funny thing is, the person doesn't keep the same energy when we meet at a family gathering. That's quite deep. Why would someone? I don't think people realize the depth of the things that they say. Why would someone say that? That's you holding a grudge over, especially if it's a work situation. But yes, it's yeah, they can't keep the same energy because they have probably realized over time that it was something very futile and minute, that they weren't supposed to even use such grave language. But also, yes, the way you respond to them probably just show them that, well, I'm not going to get what I'm looking for in Quentin, let me just leave it. We teach people how to treat us. Exactly, Dineo. And that also means that sometimes you have to walk away from a situation. If you find that the person, no matter how kind you are to them, no matter how much you try and teach them, they are not changing because they still have those solid patterns within them. Sometimes the best thing to do is to walk away. Bad habits may be lying over things that don't even require you to lie. Lungi. If there is one thing on this earth that I don't understand, it's lying. I don't understand it. Why lie? Because lying is an act of fear. The only reason why you would lie is because you're afraid of the consequence of you telling the truth. Now, as adults, especially as adults, if you lie to me, I lose an ounce of respect for you because no one is going to beat you. No one is going to beat you that you did something you were not supposed to do. The best thing I'm going to do is either walk away or swallow it and move on. But you lying about it means that you actually don't have pride in what you have done, or pride in what you were saying, or whatever it is. Lying to me is a complete no-no, Lungi, a complete no-no. I can't tolerate it, especially with the people that I keep in my close circle. There's no need to lie. Tell me the truth, even if you feel like I'm going to react in one manner or the other. Just tell me the truth. Let me deal with it. But you are fearful of the consequence. That's why you're lying. So I am the same, Lungi. I cannot tolerate lying. On the road, won't be able to comment further. Okay, Casey, thank you so much for your contribution. Me too, no matter how small the lie, it's unnecessary. Lying is unnecessary. You are either proud of your act or you're not, but don't bring me and emotional confusion into it. I've learned to keep quiet whenever I feel like I'm angry. I stay quiet. Same with me, Quentin. I walk away. I walk away from the situation, gather my thoughts, gather what I need to say, reassess the situation if I am actually supposed to be angry. And if I am supposed to be angry, I come back with a calm mind, and I come back with exactly what I need to say and to put my point across. But when I'm angry, I don't speak. Exactly, Dre. No one is going to beat you. But besides that, someone would think it's a small thing that I would want to discuss. Nah, Lungi. For me, lying is up there. It's up there. So, I understand you completely. That's a bad habit that needs to be discussed. Imagine someone lying that let me think of something that people think is small. For example, as a kid, you would lie that you've done your homework. It's not small because you're going to go to school, your teacher is going to see that you didn't do your homework. She's going to assume that your parents didn't um, pay attention to you, but you lied to your parents that you have done the homework. So it's a big circle of things that has been created simply because of one lie. So for me, a lie is never small. No matter how small you think it is, it always grows into something bigger. So no, that is a no for me. A no. Okay. All right. So another thing that another point that I wanted to bring across is the fact that communication breeds, number one, like we said, trust. It also breeds respect, but it also breeds love. And we are always teaching love and healing. So sometimes communication is not with other people, but communication is with yourself. And that is the most important form of communication that you should have. How do you speak to yourself? Do you speak to yourself in a negative manner? Do you speak to yourself in a positive manner? When you look in the mirror, do you have anything good to say about yourself? When you look at your work, are you proud of the work that you are putting out? Because no matter whether or not you reach a certain goal at a certain time, you've put time and effort into that, and that's something to be celebrated. So when we are talking about celebrating the small things and celebrating the small wins, it's important because you are teaching yourself that you are able and you are capable and you are worthy of celebration. So I know that it's easy, and for some, I will do more research into this, but it's more easy to be drawn to negative talk to yourself because we are, as human beings, we're very much self-critical. We always find something that we can improve, but knowing that you want progress and criticizing yourself are two different things. So whether you want to change an aspect about your life, maybe you want to drink more water, you're not going to say, oh, I'm such a bad person because I don't drink water. I'm such an unhealthy person because I don't drink water. You will say something like, oh, I want to get healthier. So let me start drinking water, because it starts with how you feel about yourself and what you say about yourself. That's going to put you in a gear to do better. But I think so, I don't remember who said it, but they said that why would you want to go out or carry around someone you don't like? Yeah, it was something along those lines. So if you're constantly telling yourself that you're bad, you're this, you're that, you're not going to put in an effort to improve whatever it is you think you want to improve, because we are perfect in who we are. That's why we are created the way we are created. We are uniquely created for a reason, because there is a lot of things that we have to offer. Physically, mentally, spiritually, we have so many things to offer to this world. And if we constantly speak down upon ourselves, how are we going to think so positively that we will open our mouth and say something? It's the same thing with, if as a child or as a colleague or as an employee or as a partner, if your person or your parents or your manager is constantly speaking badly about you, you're bound to make more mistakes, because you don't think you're worthy of the position that you're in. But when you constantly speak positivity into yourself, it makes you love yourself enough to do what is right for you, whatever that may mean. If it means reading more self-help books, reading more things about financial freedom, working out more, eating healthier, drinking water, whatever it is, you're going to invest in that only when you feel like you're worthy. And if you're constantly communicating negatively to yourself, you're never going to think that you're worthy. Communication with yourself, I love that. Yes, that's the most important communication we can start with. Also, if you speak to yourself in a kind way, it's very easy for you to pick up when someone else is not speaking to you in a kind way. And that's where you put some boundaries. You put boundaries. Okay, when you're communicating with me, please don't communicate with me in this way because of so, so, and so. But if you're constantly criticizing yourself, then someone else comes to criticize you. That means that your own circle, the circle around you, is breeding negativity into you. You can't produce positivity from negativity. Nona said, Quinton, it's opening a wound. I had an incident last week at work. The spectacular colleague of mine, she had stolen some money in the envelope, and then she had the audacity to say that she didn't. The proof was there, and I saw what she did. Because I'm the youngest at work, so she called me a name. I can't take anymore. I got really angry. Wow. No. That is really terrible, especially in the work environment, because that has a lot of consequences, like dire consequences, especially if it's stealing in the workplace. That is very dangerous. People get arrested for that, stealing anywhere. But you also need to consider like the recommendations and everything. So I can only imagine, and I understand why you reacted that way. Good morning, Peace. Thank you so much for joining the live. Good morning, Jojo. How are you doing? Today we are talking about communication. Lungi said affirmations, confessing Bible scriptures, good habits. Yes, we have to constantly feed ourselves positivity. Right now, your bank account is not looking so well, but when you say, the Lord knows the plans He has for me, plans to prosper me, if you believe in that, your bank account is not going to matter at that particular moment. Like yesterday in Poloko's life, like, you don't understand how I was feeling. I had goosebumps. Everything was just moving, because that is a peace that she was experiencing, that you don't know where your blessing is coming from. You don't even know where you don't know where God is trying to place you, but you have to trust in Him no matter what. You should not have fear and you should not have doubt, because God has these promises for you. So yes, that confessing of Bible scriptures, I have a whole I don't know how my wardrobe is looking, but let me see. Let me see if I can show you angles. Let me see. So yeah, those are, that's like half of my affirmations. So I do speak positively to myself every morning, every night, because it's important. um I work out because I love my body. Yes, I work out because I want to be able to be mobile when I'm 80 and 90 and agile. I want to be able to run around with my children and maybe even my grandchildren. That's why I work out, not because I hate my body or because I am fat. I love that, Lungi. I love that a lot. It's a small tweak in the mind, and that kindness we show to ourselves, that's what builds us. It really does build us, Lungi. How are you going to improve? For you to improve, right? What is this? I forgot what it's called, but in English, you say good, you say better, and you say best. You don't say bad, then good, or you don't say bad, then better. So you have to start from somewhere. You improve from what is already good. But if you don't believe you are good, how are you going to build and promote yourself from that? Thank you, Lungi. I always speak affirmations. See, the world is cruel out there. Amen, Lungi. Oh, yes, yes. We have to. You see, the thing with life is there are always going to be ups and downs, and that is just how life is. We are always going to have Sino, are you going live? Please give me an indication. Can someone please type for her in case she can't hear me? But are you going live? Let me know, because I will be rounding up in a few minutes. Hi, Wellington. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining the live. We are talking about communication. So, Joanna, back to your point. The world and life has seasons. For everything, there is a time and a season. So, how we communicate to ourselves and how we communicate to others through these seasons is very important, because the season is going to change. And I always say this, especially in relationships. Unfortunately, and we've had this, okay, Sino, all right. Thank you for your response. We always have these situations, and we grew up with this as well. We spoke about sometimes our parents were harsh with us because of how the economic situation was. But then we forget that when that situation goes away, you still have the kind of person that you were speaking to illy because you were using them as a punching bag, or you were projecting your anger towards them. So that's why communication and learning how to communicate gently and kindly towards each other is very important. The same thing with a boss or a colleague. Because maybe you are not reaching what you're supposed to reach for that quarter, if your boss is constantly going to be shouting at you, and then at the end of the year, you reach your target, is that going to be the same boss that's going to be smiling with you and saying congratulations and giving you an award? That doesn't work. So it's very important, I think, to also assess the situation in a projective manner. Yes, the world is cruel. Yes, life is hard. But when I come home, is my partner giving me peace? Am I leaving work at work so I can give my children the good side of me? Thank you, Dineo. Thank you very much. I saw this video. It was a very touching video. It looked like a couple in the 90s. And the woman was saying, she was complaining that she always gets the hard side of her husband. By the time he gets home, he's tired, he doesn't want to communicate, all he wants to do is eat and sleep. And when he does speak to her, he's always talking about how hard life is. But the moment he steps out, and he's talking to his friends. He goes to the bar, he's laughing, he is forgetting all life's problems. And yes, I understand that he sees his wife as a support system, but she should also be getting a percentage of that goodness. She should also be getting the laughs. She should also be getting 5 or 10 minutes of forgetting how cruel the world is so they can have a great relationship. So that's why, as well, communication is key. No matter what situation you're going through, remember that whoever you're talking to today is going to be the same person you're going to be talking to when things get better. So that is very important. Sure, girl, that's beautiful. I love journaling. Yes, I also love journaling. No, no. It helps me a lot. It helps to center me, to calm me, to always be grateful. I love being in gratitude. So there is a song, I think it's Lucky Dube. It is that's the way it is. It says, be good to the people on your way up the ladder because you'll need them on the way down. And that's the same thing with communication. Be good to everyone you communicate to. Be kind to them. Be humble. Be respectful. Not only because you might need them, but because that's the right thing to do, especially with people you feel like you don't need, or they're not going to bring you any benefit at that particular moment. You need to be good to those kind of people, and also with everyone who is around you. So yes, as I round up the live, guys, all I want to say is, it's never what you say, it's always how you say it. So whatever truth you have, yes, it's important that you always say the truth, but not all truth is meant to be said. And even if you are saying the truth, say it in a kind, respectful, be constructive with it, be intentional about it. And yes, the power is in the how. Exactly, Danelle. Exactly. So guys, please send in your goodbyes. Today's live was very interactive. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for completely immersing yourself in this conversation. The how, yes, the how is important. It's not what you say, but how you say it, and that also determines how the next person is going to receive it. If you're attacking me, if you're shouting at me, if you're criticizing me, if you're insulting me, all I'm hearing is that you're a bad, cruel person. And unless you say it in a more respectful manner, I'm not going to hear it. Unfortunately, I'm just not going to hear it. My pleasure, Lungi. Thank you so much. The delivery is everything. Yes. Yeah, if you are getting something from Take a Lot, and they drop your box on the ground, you're gonna receive something that is broken. It's the same thing. Delivery and reception is important. Also assessing the receiver. Are they in the position to receive it? Yes. Thank you, Lumi. That is also a great point. Because if if I am so proud and my head is above everyone else and my nose is pointing to the sky, if you tell me to be humble, I'm probably not going to hear it. But there is going to be a point in time where I'm going to be in a situation where people are going to need to tell me that. You remember that time? If you were humble about this, you probably wouldn't have lost all of the things that you lost. Yes, Take a Lot. I was looking for the right example, Joanna. That's the only one that came to mind. Imagine those balls you were showing us. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. And then someone comes and then they just drop it on the ground. My marble ball is broken. So how am I supposed to receive it? All right, guys. All right. I'm going to say this and don't laugh at me. Babayini, guys. Babayini. So please send in your goodbyes. What was I supposed to say? Okay, let me go. Um Oh, I just got a notification. Batung Lona. Batung. What was the other thing? I know I said that one correctly. So even if I didn't, just say I said it well. And the other one was Nazo. Yes, Nazo. That's how Pologa said I should say it. I have to say it with vim. Yes, Nazo Dineo. Yes. All right, guys. No giveaways today, but tomorrow. Yeah, and tomorrow we're working out, guys. Tomorrow we are working out. I will create the playlist probably today or tomorrow, and then we will be working out tomorrow at 6, your 6:30, my 7:30. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, my loves. Thank you so much for joining the live. All right, guys, we are ending the live in 45 seconds. So please send in your goodbyes. Yay to working out. Yes, Lungi, we are working out tomorrow. Please put it on your schedule, Lungi. Please, so that we can work out together. Bye, everyone. Goodbye. Bye, Dineo. Joanna, why are you laughing? Bye, Lungi. Alright, guys, see you in Lungi's live because Mushle is not going live. So, see you guys in Lungi's live. Lungi, I will be in the background though because I have meetings today and Dineo as well. I have a meeting at your one and your two. So, but I will definitely join in the background.